susah banget sih. dan Indonesia gelap atau Garuda hitam ya, itu sebenarnya pasangan dari ekspresi kecewa. Jangan dijawab dengan mengatakan kabur ya sudah, kabur aja, sudah itu nggak usah kembali, ngapain lu? Nasionalisme, rasa cinta kepada tanah air itu bisa luntur secara pelan-pelan kalau ketidakadilan itu dibiarkan tumbuh.
Jangan lupa subscribe dan nyalakan lonceng notifikasi. Selamat menyaksikan.
What if your whole Pokemon team shared their ability to have all of them simultaneously? In such a world, you could create the most indestructible Macargo of all time. A Macargo immune to water type and ground temperatures. How do you even beat such a Pokemon? There is a fan format where such a thing is possible. It's called shared power. It's a really fun idea. The way it works is that every single time you send a Pokemon into the field, it will then share its ability with your entire team. Every single time you switch in a new Pokemon, that Pokemon shares its ability with your whole team. So you eventually stack all 6 abilities on every one of your Pokemon. I really like the idea of this concept, because even though some insanely broken combos are possible, it takes a while to get there. You don't start with every ability on the Pokemon. You have to work your way there by switching.
Kenapa kita ini harus ngirit gitu kan? Kenapa tiap minggu kita tidak bisa lagi makan mewah, mungkin main di playground, mungkin jalan-jalan ke luar negeri gitu. Nah bapaknya mungkin bakal menjawab kita ini ngirit buat kasih saudara-saudara kita makan bergizi. Biar nanti kalau kamu lagi kumpul-kumpul sama saudara kamu, saudara-saudara kamu tuh sama sehatnya kayak kamu gitu. Tapi gimana sama IKN kalau pemotongan anggaran kayak gini, karena katanya kan IKN terus mau dilanjutkan. Let's see. Halo semuanya guys, kembali lagi sama gue di Detektif Aldo di apa ya, mungkin bisa jadi curhat aja kali ya. Karena memang kita tuh lagi banyak dipotong anggaran sama Pak Prabowo ya, efisiensi yang diedarkan sama Ibu Sri Mulyani. Jadi gimana ngirit-ngirit ini demi makan gratis bergizi, makan bergizi gratis MBG ya. Mari kita coba bahas di video kali ini. Let's begin the video guys. Bo itu lagi mau melakukan yang namanya pengiritan APBN dan APBD alias budget belanja negara buat ini gitu. Pengiritan itu sampai 306,69 triliun dari total anggaran tahun 2025 itu sekitar 3.600 triliun. Nah, aksi ngirit-ngirit ekstrim ini kalau dianalogikan kayak rumah tangga yang tadinya suka makan mewah mungkin tiap Sabtu Minggu ini keluarga, tiba-tiba keluarga ini tuh berjanji bakal ngirit dan tidak akan makan mewah lagi selama 1 tahun penuh. Nah, ngirit ini gunanya buat apaan? Kalau udah ngirit gini dan tidak makan mewah lagi keluarga ini, si anak kan tentunya bakal bertanya sama bapak emaknya, kenapa kita ini harus ngirit gitu kan? Kenapa tiap minggu kita tidak bisa lagi makan mewah, mungkin main di playground, mungkin jalan-jalan ke luar negeri gitu. Nah, bapaknya mungkin bakal menjawab, kita ini ngirit buat kasih saudara-saudara kita makan bergizi. Biar nanti kalau kamu lagi kumpul-kumpul sama saudara kamu tuh sama sehatnya kayak kamu gitu. Bisa berdiskusi gitu. Nah, kira-kira kayak gitu tuh analoginya kan. Karena memang Pak Prabowo ini mau ngirit segitu gede demi-demi buat makan bergizi gratis dan perbaikan sekolah katanya. Jadi emang kelihatan banget ya, memang komitmennya Pak Prabowo buat kasih makan gratis ke anak-anak sekolah, ibu menyusui dan juga balita, biar menuju generasi emas 2045 itu mungkin jadi makin cepat bahkan. Dan sepertinya bakal menjaga stabilitas masyarakat juga mungkin kan, karena perut yang kenyang membuat orang menjadi lebih tenang tentunya. Dan selain buat makan gratis, Pak Prabowo memang pengen merampingkan belanja negara buat sesuatu yang mungkin bisa dikatakan lebih efisien dan tepat sasaran, mengurangi pemborosan tentunya dan memperkuat fondasi fiskal. Terutama pengiritan yang diminta adalah mengurangi yang namanya perjalanan dinas, acara-acara seremoni dan sebagainya. Kalau sampai sini gue udah kayak buzzer merah putih ya. Nah, sebenarnya kalau ngomongin di sisi lain, sebenarnya bingung juga sama kebijakan pengiritan gila-gilaan ini. Karena kalau emang dari awal memang tujuannya mau ngirit dan efisiensi, kenapa juga kabinetnya dibikin segendut sekarang? Dimana sekarang kita tuh punya 48 kementerian kalau gue nggak salah, yang tadinya cuma 34 kementerian. Dan rajin banget kayaknya ngerekrut staf sus macem kayak Raffi Ahmad yang mobilnya kudu ngebut buat antar dokumen. Gimana ngantar dia gitu kan, mungkin naik Sukhoi gitu kan ya. Dan secara makin gendut kabinetnya, tentunya kan makin gede juga sebenarnya budget dan anggaran ke sana. Lu bayangin berapa gedung yang harus dibeli atau mungkin direnovasi buat jadi gedung-gedung kementerian yang baru. Dan anggaran belanjanya tentunya bakal beda-beda, belum listriknya, belum apa nih, ya kan? Ya mungkin sisi positifnya program-programnya jadi lebih terfokus dan lebih dedicated lah, kayak misalnya Menteri Pendidikan yang dibagi per jenjang pendidikan misalnya. Tapi rasanya agak cukup kontraproduktif sama pengiritan yang luar biasa ekstrim dalam sejarah kita ini. Nah, di sisi lain pengiritan ini kayak bikin kita orang awam mungkin tersenyum sedikit ya. Wah, orang-orang pemerintahan ini jadi pada tidak bisa belanja-belanja nih, mantap gitu. Jadi pada tidak bikin perjalanan dinas yang super boros ke sana kemari gitu kan. At least kan itu di otak kita gitu ya, mungkin begitu kita melihat berita-berita ini. Kan mungkin banyak dari kita yang kesel gitu, mungkin lihat orang-orang pemerintahan bisa jalan-jalan sana sini. Mungkin aja. Padahal mah kan mereka mungkin aja bertugas, atau mungkin sebagian besar, atau mungkin sebagian kecil, atau mungkin sebagian aja dari mereka yang benar-benar jalan-jalan dan dinas, itu emang benar-benar buat nyari deal, nyari investasi luar, observasi langsung, dan lain-lain, yang mungkin dampaknya luar biasa signifikan buat ekonomi dan pembangunan. Kan nggak semuanya jalan-jalan doang. Tapi pun perjalanan dinas dan acara seremoni misalnya nggak ada output apapun misalnya deh. Misalnya emang perjalanan mereka tuh kayak perjalanan kosong aja gitu. Nah sebenarnya dihapuskannya dan pengiritan ekstrim terhadap perjalanan dinas itu sebenarnya punya dampak yang super gede banget sebenarnya. Khususnya ke industri pariwisata lah contohnya. Karena secara data ya, ini hotel-hotel di Indonesia ini tuh dapat kontribusi pendapatan paling besar ya memang dari jalan-jalannya orang-orang pemerintahan. Jadi dengan pengiritan ini, ramalannya industri perhotelan tuh bakal berkurang sekitar 24,5 triliun secara pendapatan. Atau kalau secara persentase itu turun 40% dari pendapatan tahunan. Jadi emang gede banget. Karena sekarang acara-acara pemerintah tuh udah banyak yang tidak boleh dilakukan di hotel-hotel. Jadinya banyak acara seremoni yang diadainnya itu di gedung-gedung mungkin milik pemerintah ataupun lokasi-lokasi lain mungkin kayak restoran dan kawan-kawan. Jadi sebenarnya ngeri juga kalau pendapatan itu bisa hilang 40% dari industri perhotelan ini. Ini bisa jadi bakal banyak juga hotel-hotel yang akhirnya memilih tutup pasca kegilaan yang mungkin terjadi di era COVID kemarin. Belum lagi juga IO tuh juga bakal banyak yang tidak punya kerjaan gitu. Karena memang bahkan kalau IO itu pendapatan terbesarnya ya dari acara-acara pemerintah. Bahkan bisa makan 60-70% total pendapatan mereka setiap tahunnya. Jadi semakin minimnya acara seremoni dari pemerintah, karena Indonesia tuh seremonial banget gitu konsepnya. Ya tentunya akhirnya makin banyak juga IO yang bakal kehilangan pendapatan, nggak bisa gaji karyawan dan akhirnya banyak lagi yang jadi pengangguran. Atau ya terbaiknya pada banting-bantingan harga atau ya kemungkinan terganasnya adalah adanya tendensi main orang dalam biar menang tender karena jumlah event yang bisa dihandle kan semakin sedikit. Itu kalau orang-orang dalamnya memang tidak punya akhlak aja ya. Semoga sekarang kan akhlaknya baik dan sistemnya juga bisa mengurangi angka kemungkinan main-main ordal. Nah ini juga tentunya daerah-daerah wisata kayak Bali dan sejenisnya juga pastinya punya potensi kehilangan pendapatan karena nggak banyak acara-acara besar negara yang diadakan di kota-kota wisata ini karena pengiritan tentunya itu bakal jadi dampak ekonomi juga buat mereka. Ujung-ujungnya ya banyak yang kagak punya kerjaan lagi dan akhirnya ngurangin pendapatan daerah. Secara APBD-nya juga dikurangin juga. Jadi kalau lu lihat baru dari industri wisata aja itu udah keren banget sih. Dampaknya ada ke sana. Sebenarnya memang manuver ngirit-ngirit gini juga mesti benar-benar terukur banget lah. Dan tidak boleh buru-buru banget pertimbangannya, jadi harus banyak banget pertimbangan. Tapi gue yakin orang-orang pintar di gedung-gedung di sana sudah berpikir secara seksama untuk melakukan pengiritan ini. Jadi gue yakin harusnya outputnya bagus semoga. Walaupun memang kayaknya disuruh berpikir juga nggak sempet ya karena pemangkasan anggaran ini katanya 14 Februari ini udah harus disubmit ya sama kementerian dan lain-lain yang memang diwajibkan potong budget karena ada beberapa kementerian yang juga selamat dari potongan budget. Nah tapi kalau kita balik lagi ke urusan ngirit demi makan gratis ini sebenarnya ini juga lumayan aneh sih ya. Karena kan ceritanya makan gratis ini biar mengurangi angka stunting. Makanya ibu hamil menyusui dan juga balita kan dapat juga makan gratis, bukan anak-anak sekolah doang. Karena anak-anak yang bersekolah kalau udah keburu stunting seharusnya tidak bisa diperbaiki dengan gizi gitu. Nah ya intinya supaya generasi ke depan anak-anak tuh makin pintar semua lah dan jadi beneran generasi emas lah di tahun 2045. Tapi anehnya kalau mau bikin anak-anak pintar gitu, mengurangi angka stunting itu kan harus disertai dengan kepintaran juga. Nah kalau udah begitu, kenapa anggaran Kementerian Pendidikan yang dibagi jadi 2 kementerian ini juga kudu ikutan dipotong? Bukannya abis makan penuh nutrisi, anak-anak ini juga harus dapetin guru-guru terbaik yang mau kerja karena berasa digaji gitu ya. Mendapatkan kurikulum yang terbaik juga, kesempatan studi banding mungkin ke luar negeri, ataupun beasiswa yang lebih banyak. Dan pemotongan anggaran dari Kementerian Pendidikan ini juga angkanya nyampe triliunan dan bahkan anggaran pendidikan itu nggak nyampe 5% dari anggaran yang harusnya sesuai undang-undang tuh harusnya 20%. Jadi aneh banget dipotong ini kementerian demi makan gratis bergizi atau makan bergizi gratis. Apalagi riset-riset gini kan sebenarnya kita kan butuh riset tuh ya di negara ini untuk menciptakan inovasi baru. Riset-riset ini juga ikut kepotong juga nanti harusnya. Belum lagi Badan Pangan Nasional, Bappenas, itu juga ikutan kena potong 50% anggaran mereka. Yang lagi-lagi bikin ketar-ketir juga gimana nanti nih pangan kita nantinya khususnya untuk banyak orang-orang di daerah-daerah misalnya. Sebenarnya cukup bikin penasaran sih. Ngirit-ngirit ini hitungannya kayak gimana? Apalagi banyak guru honorer yang sampai detik ini gajinya juga belum dibayarkan dan banyak guru yang gajinya wadidaw banget kalau lu tahu kan. Makanya kebanyakan pada bikin TikTok gitu. biar jadi influencer. Makanya banyak yang nggak bisa ikut ujian-ujian gara-gara gurunya kebanyakan main TikTok. Kemarin kasusnya ada 2 biji kasus doping ya kan. Jadi potong-potong budget pendidikan ini ya cukup mengerikan. Apalagi dengan pemotongan budget tersebut itu bisa jadi bikin biaya perkuliahan nanti itu jadi makin mahal. Karena potongan-potongannya juga semakin sedikit jadi akhirnya justru perkuliahan ini yang memang selalu bikin ketar-ketir orang tua karena tiap tahun angka pendidikan atau harga untuk bersekolah dan berkuliah itu naik terus. Ini akhirnya jadi bikin makin tidak aksesibel untuk khususnya orang kalangan menengah ke bawah atau yang kurang mampu bahkan. Karena anggarannya makin sedikit. Jadi ini yang cukup dikhawatirkan dan memang sekarang lagi terus digodok. Lagi-lagi tentunya di kacamata awam gua setelah gua baca-baca memang ya banyak berita gitu ya dan banyak tulisan juga mirip-mirip yang tentunya memang selalu lah pasti susah pokok ya. Ada baiknya juga dan harusnya memang niat pengiritan dan efisiensi budget ini memang harusnya benar-benar dipikirkan dalam-dalam. Apalagi program makan gratis bergizi ini juga di sisi lain jadi komitmen yang panjang banget buat negara tentunya kan. Dan makan anggaran super gede, yaitu sekarang jadi 171 triliun buat kasus gratis. Nah lu bayangin kalau suatu saat ini program nggak ada, apa nggak kerusuhan tuh orang-orang yang udah biasa dapat makan gratis setiap
Patrons have spoken, and they've given us Seismitoad, a Unova native. This Pokemon first encountered by trainers in Black and White goes from the adorable Tympole to the charming yet somewhat off-kilter Palpitoad to the full-blown strange-eyed Seismitoad. Maybe only we see it, but there's just something about it. Still, regardless of the questionable vibes of the vibration Pokemon, today we're going to be exploring its competitive history. Was its impact seismic, or was it just a useless toad? We'll find out as we ask, how good was Seismitoad actually? And in this video, we'll be going over these competitive formats. Water ground types have a long tradition of excellence. Quagsire, Swampert, Gastrodon, each useful for generally similar reasons having to do with their incredible typing, but with their own unique spin. Seismitoad continued in that vein and was one of the very best Pokemon in NU. Its primary use was as a defensive Pokemon thanks to the innate excellence of water ground typing with just the one weakness to grass, resist to fire, rock, poison, and steel, and an immunity to electric. Indeed, being a water type that couldn't get hit by Thunderbolt was wonderful. And finally, the neutrality to everything else that went hand in hand with such great balls, being a ground type not weak to ice or water. This was superb. Of course, Seismitoad did one better than just not being weak to water though, as water absorb meant it wasn't just immune, but actively relished in getting hit by such moves for the 25% HP that they would give it. Seismitoad was most similar in general function to Swampert, as it lacked the recovery of Quagsire and Gastrodon. But what was so great about it was how it combined Swampert's all-important Stealth Rock with Quagsire and Gastrodon's water immunity. It was a ton of utility in one slot. It simultaneously provided the mandatory hazard while absorbing many of the tier's Hydro Pumps, Waterfalls, and Scalds from threats like Samura and Caracasa. Caracasa, whose secondary Rock Stab, Seismitoad also resisted, which is crucial given that it threatens Shell Smash. And of course, Seismitoad blocked other Seismitoad. Furthermore, it had one of the best utility moves in the game, Knockoff. And even before its Gen 6 damage was buffed, the removal of items was still superb. Seismitoad wasn't just a hit taker though. What was really unique about it was that it could go all-out offensive as one of the tier's best rain abusers thanks to its Swift Swim ability. When rain teams appeared, they were risky, but quite strong thanks to the consistency of Seismitoad's fellow Swift Swimmer, Ludicolo, which was also generally a threatening Pokemon, even outside of dedicated rain. And funnily enough, Ludicolo's popularity worked to Seismitoad's advantage. While a water grass type would normally completely stifle the water ice ground coverage that the Seismitoad and Swampers of the world would work with, Seismitoad had a unique trick up its sleeve: the Ludicolo obliterating poison coverage of Sludge Wave or Sludge Bomb, depending on if you wanted the higher power or the possibility of 30% poison against bulkier targets like a Lomomola. Seismitoad's base speed was just enough to get the jump on Ludicolo. It all came together to form an incredibly rare instance of poison coverage excelling in the pre-fairy era. Now, it could have been more than enough for Seismitoad to etch itself firmly into the highest echelon of NU viability for how it thrived on both defense and offense, but eventually, it was discovered to have a genuinely great niche in OU, the real deal, one that was used successfully in games that mattered. It was used because of how utterly it shut down the standard defensive Rotom Wash. But wait, wasn't there Gastrodon for that? Well, Gastrodon didn't get the major progress-making tools of Stealth Rock or Knockoff, but that would have been completely irrelevant had it not been for Seismitoad's most important move, Refresh. Even though it stuffed Volt Switch and Hydro Pump and had reliable recovery, Gastrodon often did not care for getting burned by Rotom Wash Will-O-Wisp, which made it much less sturdy and much more exploitable for Pokemon that it otherwise would handle quite well, like ground types and Keldeo. Seismitoad was no unwavering wall against such threats, but what it did offer was a complete and utter denial of any progress for Rotom Wash, especially since it often ran Protect just like Swampert for extra healing. And since Rotom Wash was one of the biggest momentum grabbing progress makers in tier, this was huge. Beyond answering Rotom Wash, Seismitoad also was helpful into Rain Team. Between its Specs Hydro immunity and ability to assist against Tornadus Therian, and was especially good at being a stealth rocker that wasn't afraid of any of the tier spinners, like Excadrill, Starmie, and Tentacruel. This made Seismitoad incredibly reliable at getting the rocks, keeping them up, and potentially getting them up again. It became a strong choice for certain sand balance teams. Ultimately, Seismitoad had an excellent debut generation. Seismitoad holds the dubious distinction of being the only viable Swift Swim user available in VGC 2011, something that single-handedly designated Rain as not very good. Seismitoad simply didn't have enough in the tank to carry Rain on its own. In fact, the only notable team report for Seismitoad comes from Eganjo, who used Water Absorb over Swift Swim, specifically to bait opponents into hitting it. Seismitoad's main purpose was to spam Icy Wind and Muddy Water, providing speed control and spread damage for the focal point of Eiganjo's team, Abomasnow. But the fact that Eiganjo had to defeat people with a surprise ability should say everything you need to know about how mediocre this Pokemon was. In 2013, Samuel Harzma, known for his creative team building, broke out the Toad for Orlando Regionals, along with a totally unique team consisting of Breloom, Scyther, Politoed, Gothitelle, and Beartic. Samuel was enticed by the newly legal Technician Breloom, so he built the rest of the team to support it, and Rain was a great complement. Samuel ran Choice Specs with Earth Power, Muddy Water, Hydro Pump, and one very special coverage move. He noted that the top 12 mons he uses all were neutral to both sides of Toad's stats, except for Latios, Abomasnow, and Ludicolo. What's the one type that hits all of those mons super effectively? That's right, Bug. Hidden Power Bug rounded out the set and carried Samuel to a third place finish before he lost to his roommate, because he had forgotten to EV his Beartic. Oops. Seismitoad improved in status come Gen 6, going from its previous NU to its new home, RU. Gen 6 RU is a meta of longevity, balanced teams locked in a war of attrition, revolving around dishing out one's own passive damage while managing the passive damage dished out by the opponent. The hazard metagame revolving around the familiar tools of rockers, spinners, defoggers, and pursuit trapping was just the start of it. There were also so many Scalds, Will-O-Wisp, and Toxics flying around that Heal Bell was imperative to not suffocate in the long term, especially since leftovers were often a temporary affair. You know, seeing as knockoffs were thrown around like hotcakes at a hotcake convention held at the peak of hotcake season in the middle of Hotcake City. Anyways, you also had the internal longevity of both Alomomola and its teammates thanks to its unflappable Regenerator alongside Enormous Wishes. With this in mind, it should be no surprise that Seismitoad fit into RU so nicely. It packed Scald, Toxic, and Knockoff, a combination of moves so fierce that they would go on to make Toxapex a wall breaker in the subsequent generation. And of course, it popped up Stealth Rock wonderfully, but what really drove its effectiveness home was its longevity. It was immune to opposing Scald, meaning it could actually heal up against something like Slowking, and if it didn't want to rely on Deance's Heal Bell, it could slot in Refresh, making it even safer into Pokemon accentuating their Scalds with their other status, like Blastoise, Jellicent, and non-knock Alomomola. Seismitoad did have to be careful of Knockoff, but that was a worthwhile price, as in addition to its great longevity, it was a Stealth Rocker that was completely completely unafraid of both the Fog Flygon and threatened to ruin Rapid Spin Blastoise with knockoff, making it superb at popping the hazard up repeatedly. It also had great defensive use against a variety of tier staples, from Rhyperior to Jolteon. Additionally, Seismitoad could pull off quite a disruptive Balance Breaker Subtoxic set, which was more difficult to fit, but should the Scald Bird find the opposing Venusaur, this could be incredibly obnoxious for standard balance teams. Mostly though, it stuck with bulk. Seismitoad wasn't a star, but it had a strong place within the balance-dominated RU landscape. Funnily enough, despite its RU status, Seismitoad was actually much better in UU, and it was almost solely because of its Scald immunity. UU had long been characterized by Scald Wars, where bulky waters like Suicune, Empoleon, and Slowking would scald each other repeatedly for lack of a better switch-in, and the water that got the first burn-off was incredibly favored. Many a metagame shift revolved around the burn crisis of UU, characterized not just by Scald, but Entei's stomach-churning Sacred Fire as well, and Seismitoad was one of them. It didn't just rise in usage, it became one of the most important Pokemon in the metagame. What was particularly wild about this was that previously, Swampert was the tier Stealth Rock Water Ground of choice thanks to its notably superior bulk, with its defense being especially important in taking on Mega Aerodactyl. Seismitoad also boasted knockoff over it, but there's a reason it wasn't used for that previously. Swampert was much better than Seismitoad in just about every crucial aspect, were it not for the Scald factor anyway. But precisely because of the ability to absorb the hot water, Seismitoad completely eclipsed Swampert, which fell to the wayside and watched as its replacement reveled in its ability to repeatedly switch it.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. The first mod I want to show off to you is something that allows you to use GPU normal on Yuzu with Vulcan for Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. You don't have access to this yet. I just want to show you for when you do have access to it, when it finally goes public, or if you get to tier 3 of the Boy 181's mod testing. This is called the improved LODs. It improves the LODs of NPCs, trees, and Pokemon. And what we're going to do is I'm going to hit OK, we're going to change to normal, and I'm going to just going to boot up the game. Once again, we're going to switch to normal, and I'm going to show you what it looks like with this mod on, okay? Now, I'm going to load directly in, because I don't really want to, like, pause it or edit it here so you know what actually happens. It's pretty cool. Everything is rendering. Now there is flickering here and there, but if you notice, the buildings are still here and it's super playable. What the frack are you? See, every video I make, I'm always distracted. I'd like you. You're cute. I'm gonna catch you. What is this thing? I need to remember this thing's location so I can catch him later. Gotcha. Thank you. I didn't have that one yet. This is why. Alright. So, the reason I want to show that to you is, this is why I want to start off the video. Mods that improve bugs in emulators. Because here's the thing. If we turn off that mod, which we're going to do right now, just let me save, and we come back in and we fly down in the exact same way, what's going to happen is the game's going to completely bug out. So again, we're going to jump in on normal, okay, because that's very important. So this is the mod that we turn off, and we're going to force normal for the game on start. It's very important. So we go to advanced, we're going to force normal, and you'll see what I mean. See, normal is down bottom. And we will get to the rest of the mods. As you can see, there's a ton of mods to cover. It's going to load in-game. And when it does, everything's going to be completely broken. Now, someone on the user team's like, that mod does not fix this issue. And I'm like, yeah, it does. Just try it. Where are all the trees at? They were there with the boys mod. Where's the buildings at? They're gone all of a sudden, huh? We used normal before with his mod, and they all worked. Interesting, isn't it? So it's pretty cool to see that his mod actually fixes a bug in Yuzu. The user team can hopefully use this mod when it's publicly available to fix this issue and have normal be playable for everybody else, because normal gives the best performance. Okay, so we're going to take a look at all the mods we're going to cover today. And here they are. So this is improved texture LOD bias. This improves the clarity of the textures. Okay, this does not improve LODs of objects and such. 20 FPS, you can already guess what it's going to do. 20 by 9 is for ultra wide. 40 FPS, don't even need to explain it. 45, 60. The improved camera makes the camera smoother, so instead of it being jittery and so on, it feels more free. It's interpolated, I think. I don't really remember, I'm not too sure. This improves the LOD distance, so trees at a
Whoa, 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 what? Cerulege, why are you looking so sick? What the heck? What is up, everyone, and welcome to Pokemon Ultraviolet, a ROM hack slash mod pack I've put together by combining a bunch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet mods. This includes new textures that change the appearance of certain Pokemon and trainers, as well as a few performance-enhancing mods to make the game look and run smoother. You can find the link for all the mods used in the description, but this hack doesn't just make Paldea look different, it also plays in a totally new way, as I've randomized every single wild encounter and trainer battle, including Pokemon from the recent home update like Hisuian forms and other region starters. I even cooked up a few custom forms just for this playthrough that change the typing, abilities, and movesets of certain Pokemon. Finally, I've adjusted the difficulty of select story battles like gym leaders and 2-star bosses to make this full challenge that much more distinct and exciting. And when I say challenge, I'm of course talking about the fact we're taking on this journey in a Nuzlocke. Considering how my last few attempts at Nuzlocks have ended, and the fact I haven't been playing nearly as much Pokemon this year means this is going to be a fun one. So if you guys are hyped, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet to stay tuned for future episodes. Without further ado, let us venture back into Paldea. I mean, this is a randomizer, so I feel like I should randomize my gender too. Heads we play as boy, tails we play as girl. Yep, that's me. Looks like we got some differences already. Look at those school uniforms. Actually, is the first Pokemon randomized? Hello? Okay, we got a blue Palmy for some reason. And so it begins. Look at us. I love the dark uniform. That already makes this 10 times better. We're here for randomness. We ain't here for no cutscenes. Hello, Clavel. You're looking quite snazzy in your dark outfit too, aren't you? Right then, dear Pokemon. Time to come out. Ah! Oh my god, look at those random starters! So the thing is, I'm pretty sure our starter Pokemon are randomized, but we're not actually going to see them until we pick it. But you know what is randomized? This Barboach! What the frick is it doing? Oh my god! Oh, this is amazing already. Okay, I'm going to save the game just in case, because I don't know if it's going to actually tell us what Pokemon it is until we pick it. Well, this makes it really random, because I'm not even going to know what starter we get until after we picked it. I know a lot of people expected me to pick Coco back in my original Scarlet and Violet playthrough though, so this time around in the randomizer, I'm going to go with Coco. Oh, and the nickname screen should show us Chutol. Okay, and as per the Nuzlocke rule, we got to nickname all of our Pokemon, so I'm going to name this dude Peaches. Another thing I'm pretty sure is randomized are all of the items on the field. So first item, we've still got a potion. I feel like that's usually what we get. Let's go fight our rival and see what Pokemon she's got. Houndour? What the heck? She picked my starter from way back in my first ever YouTube playthrough. Well, fortunately for us, that means we still have the type advantage. So let's go Water Gun! Smart move, fire strong against grass. Yeah, that's definitely what happened there. Well, it gets absolutely destroyed because we have Water Gun, of course, and Peaches doesn't even get the level up yet, but that's okay. Aw, poor poor little quacks. Oh wait, I guess we'll find out eventually